Hey, Dr. Mike here. So do you want to live forever-ish? Well, then you got to know what's in and what's not. Stay tuned to find out.
You're listening to Live Foreverish, a show dedicated to helping you live just a little longer. Here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Crystal Gossard.
All right, welcome to Live Forever-ish. One of our favorite shows, the ins and outs of living forever-ish. You know, it's living longer, but like better longer.
Yeah, better years.
Better years.
Years with a better quality of life.
Yeah, strong. What are the words we always say? We always do this.
Yeah.
Strong, vibrant.
Being able to go grocery shopping for yourself.
Being able to stand up on your own power.
Drive.
Not make so many noises when you stand up.
Right. Oh. Hey, I think I'm doing that now, Dr. Mike.
I got to say something, though. I do that, but then I realize half the time when I do that, I don't even have any pain.
Right. It's just...
It's like I'm just copying my dad. Like, I don't know why I go, oh, like, why did I just do that? It didn't even hurt. Anyways, okay. So ins and outs, things you want to do, things that can support.
Yes.
This idea of living forever. And then there's always one that you want to avoid. Mm-hmm. So let's start with one of the first ins that we have. And I love it. It's fantastic. I drink it every day. You know, I do my shots. I'm really up this morning. I did three shots.
Oh, goodness. Well, I did one.
Now, we're not talking
and
about
coffee.
We're not talking about vodka.
Right. Yeah, we should clarify that,
yeah,
Dr. Mike.
We're talking about coffee.
Right.
Yes.
Coffee. Espresso shots.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Since I started doing espresso shots, regular drip coffee just doesn't have that,
Yes.
I don't know.
I can't drink espresso shots every day. It's just on the dates. But my husband does. He pulled out, I think after our coffee live show,
he did.
He pulled out our espresso machine from the pantry, and it's been in heavy rotation.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. So what we have here, I'll read the headline, right? This is from a study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology. This is a big journal. I mean, this is your peer-reviewed.
Right.
You don't get written up here unless it's good stuff, right? And here it is. Drinking coffee associated with reduced risk of cardiovascular disease and death.
Right. And, let's just point out preventative cardiology.
Yeah.
You don't often hear.
Yeah, this is good.
Prevention.
Yeah.
It's about health care, not sick care.
I love it. Yes, which is what we need. Coffee is part of health care.
That's right.
All right. So tell us about, because this was pretty large study, right?
Right. Researchers followed about 450,000 people, average age 58 years old, for 12 years.
Yeah. Oh, see, nice and long.
And their goal was to determine the best kind of coffee for preventing heart disease and boosting longevity. So they even looked at decaf drinkers.
Ugh. What's the point?
Really? So, but Dr. Mike, everybody can't handle the full caffeinated coffee. There's still caffeine in decaf coffee.
Drink water. Have a vodka
cup
shot.
of decaf coffee in the evening is great.
Yeah, I'm teasing.
Right, they evaluated ground coffee, instant coffee. You ever had instant coffee, Dr.
Yeah,
Mike?
no, that was big in my day. What was it? What was the name of that one? Very popular in this. Sanka.
Sanka, right.
Yeah, my mom had a thing of Sanka all the time. And I loved the smell of it when you open up the little yeah, it was a great smell. But yeah, no, I've had some of that.
Mm-hmm. And then decaf. So ground instant decaf coffee. When we talk about cardiovascular disease, that included, in this study, coronary heart disease, cardiac failure, and ischemic stroke.
Yeah. And they picked the right age, right? 58 and above. So that's better. Sometimes when they do these studies, they include like 20 and whatever. That kind of skews it, I think, because most 20, 30-year-olds don't. Yeah. So 58's a good age. Before we I want to talk about the coffee real quick, right? So was this just black coffee? Obviously, if you're adding sugar, cream, I would have to assume that that's changing things a little bit.
Well, in the research with the coffee, and Mark Corey, he came on to our live show to talk about coffee. It seems in the research, especially observational studies in this way, they are not taking out the people who put the milk in their coffee, the people who put other thing, the sugar in their coffee. It's really just the coffee, regardless of how you prepare that coffee.
That's interesting, right? So,
right.
I mean, I guess that's hard for me to believe, but that's good. That's good news. So at the end of the day, whether it's cream, sugar, but there was benefit.
Yes. All types of coffee were associated with a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease and death. But the big winner, ground coffee, produced the greatest benefit. As compared to non-coffee drinkers, overall reduction in cardiovascular incident was observed.
Yeah. So, I mean, some people find this hard because they think of caffeine, raises blood pressure, raises heart. Right. Like, how is that? How does this mean anything? But it probably goes beyond caffeine, right? There's good polyphenols.
Well, there's a little more to the story because we have specific amounts.
Okay.
So drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee per day led to a 27% reduced risk of death. But those overachievers in the coffee, those
I see it
who
here.
consumed 4 to 5 cups, now they're getting the arrhythmias.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me, I think.
The heart palpitation. Well, that's okay. Don't freak out. And generally speaking, if you're healthy, heart palpitation, those are just little PVCs. It's fine. But if you have heart disease, that could spur on an event, right? So 2 to 3 cups is about, I guess, the sweet spot.
Right. And so keep this in mind. Typically in these studies, 1 cup is about 6 ounces. So if you go to your favorite coffee shop and you get, say, a medium or you get a large, that's probably 2 to 3.
Yeah, you got to figure out the size. Unless you go to some of the popular places, because I have found out that the actual difference in amount of coffee in those things is minuscule. Do you know that?
What do you mean?
The cups. The cups may be taller, but they're thinner.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's a market. So you don't actually get as much more out of a large than a small.
Tricky.
Yeah, these people.
We need to buy. Maybe we can do that on a show, right, Dr. Mike? What if we have measuring cups and show?
Yeah. But generally speaking, you're right. If you're drinking a bunch of these large ones, you got to factor in there's more coffee in that. I love it. Coffee. Let's do it. Right. That's an easy end. In number 2, again, something we've talked about a lot.
Right.
Something you and I believe, I mean, just absolutely this is critical for living foreverish. Strong muscles.
That's right. And this is the previous study we talked about was an observational study. Now we're looking at a meta-analysis of randomized trials. And in these trials, they concluded that protein supplements rich in branched-chain amino acids, we love those.
We talk about those too.
Leucine could improve muscle strength in individuals with sarcopenia. Yeah. So these individuals already have muscle loss.
Yeah. We love that.
Right?
I think we did. Didn't we do a show on branched chain? Or at least I've done a couple lectures. I know I have on branched chain amino acids and sarcopenia.
Yes, it comes up from time to time on our shows. But just leucine is one of the branched chain amino acids. Leucine, valine, isoleucine. Yeah. Those are your branched chain amino acids. And those amino acids, they can get straight into the muscles.
Yeah, that's what it is. They skip the liver stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can have a bigger impact on building muscles. Yeah. People who are suffering from muscle wasting, they can really help jumpstart that muscle synthesis process.
Yeah, we have a lot of good research with creatine being one of the best muscle builders. That's kind of a post-workout thing, so that's good too. But I think more and more we're going to hear about the branched chain amino acids. I really think these are key as well. So if you want, I mean, the best of both worlds, you could do both.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there's no problem
Absolutely.
with that.
But leucine is my favorite, and that was kind of the focus here. Was leucine, because we know leucine, out of all of the branched chain amino acids, it's the one that kind of jumpstarts that muscle building process. So there were a total of 6 studies included, and there were 699 men and women with sarcopenia. And there was a daily protein supplement containing 3 to 6 grams of leucine. So you'll see these averages as we go over this. Like, for example, the duration of these studies were 8 to 13 weeks. Some of the studies were shorter or longer, different durations, but that was kind of some guidelines that you can think about, you know, a couple months.
Well,
a protein supplementation.
3 to 6 grams is not crazy. 8 to 13 weeks is not really a long period of time, right? For reversing something that's very serious. Matter of fact, let's review real quick sarcopenia, right?
Yeah.
This is, it's basically muscle wasting. It's where your body has eaten up. It's called catabolized muscle cells and stuff. And it happens in people who are very sick, and it happens in people who are getting old. And that's, listen, you can't live forever-ish if you don't have muscle.
Right. Well, it's the cause of frailty.
Yeah.
It's what leads to frailty, more likely that you're going to fall. Oh! Right. But then you fall, and now you don't have the strength to get yourself back up.
Yeah. And you can't, and someone has to help you get up. And even when you're just sitting.
And what if you're home alone?
Yeah. Sad.
That happened to one of my aunts recently. We don't know how long she was
laid there.
She was on the floor.
Did you imagine that? Yeah, muscle. God, this is serious stuff, guys. We make light sometimes, but this is serious stuff. So it's good to see branched chain amino acids, specifically leucine, improving muscle mass, and again, you know, even a 10% increase, 20%. That's significant.
That's right.
That's big time stuff. That's the difference between getting yourself out of the chair and needing help.
Right.
Right?
That's true.
Or you fall, you get up yourself. Right? That's good stuff. All right, so let's go on to in number 3. This makes sense. I don't know if I like it. Keeping a job. Keep working. Keep going. Work in this country. Go.
Work.
Stress yourself out and then have a heart attack.
Stay in the workforce longer, at least until age 67.
Who wrote this? That sounds like somebody running Social Security wrote that. Surprised they didn't say 70.
Perhaps. Well, you know, these researchers, first of all, this was a study published in the Frontiers of Aging Neuroscience.
Okay.
And the researchers, the title of the study, Do Lifestyle Activities Protect Against Cognitive Decline in Aging? A review. And the researchers used data from the U.S. Health and Retirement Study of over 20,000 Americans. Found that those who stayed in the labor market until age 67 had a slowed rate of age-related cognitive decline compared to those who retired between the ages of 55 to 66. So, Dr. Mike, you have to stay with us longer. That's what this means.
I'll go do something else. I'll go work at Publix and let people. That's our grocery stores. I'll greet people. I'll greet people at Walmart. Or is it Walgreens? Whatever it is.
Where are the greeters?
Walmart.
I haven't seen greeters anymore.
I'll be one of the old Walmart greeters. No, but here's the thing. At a physiological level, this makes sense to me because, and we've even talked about that. One of the key things in keeping your brain sharp, focus, attention, all that is to keep learning, keep doing, keep analyzing. We've talked about that.
Right.
Learning a new language is one of the greatest things you can do for your brain.
That's true, Dr. Mike.
Yeah. I mean,
or playing an instrument.
Learning an instrument. Learn how to read music. Learn sign language.
Anything new, really.
Any of that stuff is great. So I think it's just about keeping you stimulated. Right?
I agree.
I think that's what this is. So if you don't like your job, it's not saying you got to keep that job. You can go do something else.
Very true.
I just think it's brain stimulation by doing, learning. That's what's key.
Right. And so here's the key takeaway, Dr. Mike. As you mentioned, don't retire and sit at home and watch soap operas.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. That's not my plan.
Okay. Or, well, maybe your plan is to sit on the beach all day and watch the sunset and the sunrise. Same thing. No. That's vitamin D. That's outside. That's good stuff. Don't you start messing with my dream. We need to go over your plans.
No, it's fine. I get what you're saying. I think that's so. I think this is a good point, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to retire, early, fine. Do something. Go be a part of a charity. Get involved with the ministries in your church.
Yes.
Go help read to kids. Go to places that have the adoption center for pets and feed them.
Oh, Dr. Mike.
Walk them.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously, though. So again, I don't think I think this opens up more. I don't think it's just about not retiring. I think it's more about, even if you retire, keep your brain active.
Very true.
Yeah. Listen, you talk about just sitting there on the couch, right? It happens. You know, my dad, when he retired, had a lot of plans, but, you know, and eventually he did start doing more. But for like the first year or two, he'd worked for 35 years, and he was a boss. And now all of a sudden he's at home and no one listens to him. He's not a boss anymore.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he was a little depressed. He just kind of, he didn't really do any of his plans yet.
Right.
I mean, I think there's a transition there, though, but don't let that happen to you. Have something ready to go.
I agree, Dr. Mike. Have a plan. Double dip if you need to. My mom did that for a while. So she was a retired educator. After she retired, she went back and did substitute teaching.
Great, like right there.
So you make your own schedule.
Transition it, yeah.
And so you're not stuck to every day you have to be in. My dad, we keep asking him when he's going to retire. He retired. He's a retired educator as well, but he also pastors our church, and so that is now keeping his brain active.
Be active
every
in
day.
Something. Yeah.
He's doing something, and I think it's good for them to stay active.
That's the key thing. I think that's the key takeaway. So there's the 3 N's. These remember, those are the things you want to do. You want to live forever-ish. You got to do this. You got to. I already forgot the first one. I need to learn a new language. No. Coffee. I already forgot. Coffee. Number 2 was strong muscles. Number 3 was stay active. Okay, according to the study, don't retire until you're 67, whatever. I think it's beyond that. All right, let's go to out. Now, this is serious. Because I'm not trying to make light. I just got to say what I got to say.
Right.
You can't, if we're talking about suicide attempts. If you're at a position where you want to take your own life, that's obviously not a good way to live forever, right? And so please get help. Seek help. There's a lot of hotlines you can call in your areas, whether you're a vet, a retired person. There's all these specialty groups. Again, going back to that last number 3, if you stay connected, research has shown, right? If you stay, even if you're in a retirement home, they have shown that if you can connect those people.
Yes.
I saw this fascinating one where it was a retirement home, and they connected it to a preschool.
Oh my goodness.
And recess for these kids, part of it was to go to the nursing home and just play.
Oh, I bet that brought so much joy.
They have
and
videos,
laughter.
They have videos of these retirees all of a sudden just brighten up. And they're playing with the kids, they're playing with the dolls. Yeah.
Wow.
So Connection's important here, but there's something specific you wanted to mention about this, and it has to do with vitamin D.
Right. So a study of U.S. veterans published in February of 2023, so a current study, one found a lower risk of suicide and self-harm among those who supplemented with vitamin D in comparison with unsupplemented veterans. And let's think about these veterans. Many of them are suffering from PTSD.
Yep.
And if it's not PTSD, they probably have hearing loss because of all of the weapons and the firing.
That's a good point.
You know, and we've talked about the connection between hearing loss and how socially you're feeling disconnected from the world around you. And there are a host of other things, you know, the veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange. It's
even worse.
It's even worse.
And then they come. You know, they leave the services. Many of them who fought in wars and stuff, and we don't really have like an organized way of supporting them.
Right. They come back into the civilian world.
Just like, okay, go, you're on your own now.
When they have given their all, sacrificed their life for our freedoms, and they don't get the respect. Yeah,
there are places like in certain states they can get like certain job training, stuff like that. But that should be like, for all of them, it should be national.
Right.
There should be a national program of not just health care, PSD, post-traumatic care, but just getting back to life care.
Right. So in those individuals, you do see higher mental health issues, suicide, unfortunately. And it's nice to see something as simple as vitamin D, Dr. Mike.
I know. It's great. It's, how often do we say that with nutrients? Just one simple little thing can have such an impact.
Yeah.
It's cheap, simple thing, no side effects.
Right.
Cheap, simple thing.
The researchers found a 45% lower risk of suicide attempt or self-harm among vitamin D users and a 48% lower risk among veterans who were prescribed vitamin D compared to those who used no vitamin D supplements.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty clear.
And the higher the dose, the better the benefit.
I mean, 45% lower risk, 48% lower. I mean, how do you argue that?
Right.
I mean, it's like that. And when we create a national program, a fourth arm should be everybody gets a free vitamin D.
I know. Free vitamin D. It's so, and it's inexpensive, Dr.
That's my point. We can afford it. If we can afford those tanks and jets, we could afford vitamin D for all the veterans.
Vitamin D testing.
We can afford housing and everything for all the veterans.
I know.
For just one of those jets.
I know. I think we're making strides as a nation with kind of the benefits in supporting the veterans. But we could always do more. Yeah. So let's support our veterans. Get vitamin D testing.
Yeah.
The people who had the lowest vitamin D levels, which was nice in this study, they had the greater benefits.
Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. All right, so there you go. There's living forever-ish, strong, vibrant, a little bit longer lives, but more importantly, good lives, healthy lives, better lives, right? So we gotta drink our coffee. Espresso's the best way. That's my way, so it's the best way. Robson, do you like espresso? I love espresso. See, Robson and I are right.
Of course. They'll team up on me.
Muscles.
Strong muscles.
Branched
leucine.
chain amino acids, specifically leucine, right? That's important. Listen, I don't know if there's an age, but 50s, 60s, how about just start taking some BCAAs every day?
I think 40.
Well, that's too late for Robson. We gotta catch up.
Yeah, catch up.
And then that was what was the last one?
Keeping a job.
Keeping a job. Staying active.
Okay.
Staying active. And of course, suicide attempts. Turns out vitamin D. And we could do a whole show on what's happening there in the brain, right? But probably multiple mechanisms going on. But vitamin D cuts the risk of suicide in these high-risk veterans. Very good. Dr. Crystal, thanks for joining me today. Don't forget, you can go to liveforeverish.com. When you get there, do the 1-2 punch. Give us your email. Join the fan. Is that how you punch?
Yes. Oh, did I? So those of you who are listening, I did a punch in the air. So maybe I need to go to the gym and practice.
learn how to punch. You don't have to go to the gym. Anyways, okay, back to liveforeverish.com.
The 1-2 punch.
The 1-2 punch. Give us your email. Join the family. You get newsletters and stuff like that from our sponsor, Life Extension. You're going to love it. We get so much of our content from our sponsor. And then, of course, then you can subscribe. Join the family, and that way, every time we post, boom, you got it.
Yep, and then subscribe on your favorite listening platform.
Yeah, you could do that right.
All of them.
You could do it from your platform or liveforeverish.com.
That's right.
Yeah, and now we have, again, I don't know the number, over close to 400 episodes, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a lot there to read. When you do, hey, we just asked that you let us know you read it. Say something when you download it. Give us a shout out. Share it. And, of course, don't forget, 1-2 punch. Subscribe. Right? I'm Dr. Mike. Thanks for listening.